Of course, I need to sneeze like the exact second that the stream starts. Hold on. Wait. It passed. It passed. We're good. Hi, everybody. How is it going? My name is Endeavorance. The dice rolls are indeed back. They're back. They're back in a very limited capacity. I literally added them back to the stream 10 minutes before going live, so there's not like a score associated or anything. But we'll get to that probably by the end of the week. So roll your dices. Have fun doing that. Don't roll a 1 or you'll get shamed. And let's give the dog a treat, and then we'll get to the stream. There's a lot to do today. Which is to say, there's just too much going on in the world. But let's give the dog a treat. Okay, almost had our first one. That would have been really, really upsetting. How do I dice? It is a redeemable. It is one of the chat redeemables. So if you click on the redeemable thing, the pure potential, it's like, you know, redeeming a hydrate or a voice reaction. There's a D20 roll option. So you can do that. Okay, let's give the dog a treat. Yeah? Shall we? While everybody rolls dice all over the dog. You want a treat? Ah! His foot got stuck. His foot got stuck in my headphone cord. Okay, hold on. Beef. You'll be happy to know that the socks today are indeed the Flynn socks. So that's good. On brand. Praise. Gotta be on brand. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. All right. Praise. Okay. Dog has treat. Camera looks grainy. Ugh. But we're just gonna let that happen. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Endeavorance. It is Tuesday, June 16th, 17th. It's the 17th. There's a year in there. I lost my streak. There's a year in there somewhere. I had the days for a little while. Forgot what day it was. Inky says, I cannot hear you, Dev. I am being advertised at. I'm very sorry. I wish that I could stop that from happening. I can't, unfortunately, stop that from happening. I think the only way I can is if I, like, don't I have to, like, run an ad if I want to stop the ads temporarily? Which is very annoying. Anyway, a good way to not get ads is to subscribe or give subscriptions to my Twitch channel.
Thank you. If you do that, you're the best.
And you help me be able to do this. Where's the dog? He do be licking. He do be licking. Okay. Okay. Let's say hi to people. Let's say hi to people. Hello to Inky, Sir Skidmark, Chef de Cuisinart, Names, Varmint Vixen, Cryptid, Epic Failure, Robin, Ollie, Tomato, Jordally Poopoo, Langwill, Cata Supernova, Quentin Gell, Tree Fox, Typical Brunette, Fire Drops, Lucifer's Ace BF, Ada Scout, Canadian Kells, what's up? How's it going? Did I miss you? Did I say you already? Or hello, whatever. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Why are you, why? Hi, Precious Baby, the dog, not the human. Indeed, dog is Precious Baby. I am far from Precious Baby. Let's just appreciate this for a little bit. Can we just appreciate this for a little bit? Can we just, like, for a moment, for a brief moment, can we just appreciate this? Thank you. And can we also appreciate Inky for giving out 5 community subs and starting a hype train? Thank you to Inky, and hello to Sun Freckled Fella. Hello. Welcome in. And congrats to everybody who got a gifted sub. Thank you so very much. Wait. Look who just subscribed. And another. Specifically to Cryptid. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so very, very much. I actually, like, this is kind of top of mind which is to say, you know, money is kind of always top of mind. But I'm trying really hard to not take sponsorships yet if I can help it, right? Like I'm not about to be completely destitute, and until I pretty much get to that point, I'm really trying to avoid shilling crap that's not like my crap to shill or things that I genuinely like. I've been contacted several times by several organizations that have offers that I would entertain, but I have a mental block of not trusting basically any company or any corporation to not be completely shitty. And so I have like a really hard time saying like, yes, insert corporation here, I will do ads for you, because like I don't know. And unless it's something I can like truly endorse, I just don't feel comfortable endorsing it, right? Like I don't like trading endorsements for money. I would happily partner with certain organizations that whose like work and output I admire. But if you're going to cold call me and I don't really already use your product, or I don't really know you, I don't think that I have the ability to gather enough context on something completely new to me that I haven't previously evaluated and proven has added value to my life to be able to endorse it for money. Unless they want to give me like $1 billion, in which case I'll endorse whatever the fuck. If you just want to give me a ton of money, I can be bought. I have a price. That price is like probably like a few million, honestly. And I'll endorse shaking babies or something. I don't know. But if I can then turn around and go help people with that money, then great. Let's see. Let's catch up on chat, which I am, oh dear, just so far behind. Let's start not too far back so I can actually have a hope of catching up ever. Chris Lowell says that's a dog. That is a dog. Canadian Kel says, I'm procrastinating on a huge project. Thank you very much for the distraction. Well, I am here to distract. It's what I do best. It's it's why I do what I do, is to help people not work. Someone gifted subscriptions. Thank you for that. Fire drops with the 5 more subs. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. It helps so goddamn much. And I'm really trying to like get on top of my finance situation. And I've Kels will be happy to hear about this. I've been spreadsheeting so goddamn hard with finances and income streams and expense reports and everything. Which is not to, I don't think I need to be doing that, because the cash flow here at Casa de Dev is not particularly high. Like we're talking, I don't like, most people would need spreadsheets for like managing cash flow and like company assets. I could probably manage with my fingies. I could probably just be like, okay, got the $1, spent it. Got the $2, spent $1. Got $2 more, spent $3. Like I could just use my fingies. The only issue is that when I'm sleeping, it's hard to keep my fingies in the right orientation, and so I had to go to a spreadsheet. So you know how it is. It's for favors. Wait, what favors? Wait, what favors? We will try to sponsor you enough. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, I want to go as crowdfunded / just, you know, I guess shilling my own crap as much as possible, because like I don't want to be on the hook. I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, oops, I've been shilling honey this whole time, and it turns out that they're like a huge scam. And I know that people trust the words that I say. I know why, like people watch me because they come to hear what I have to say about things. And I just don't want to, it feels so scummy, right? Like if you're coming to me to get information, if you're coming to me because you trust me, a sponsorship is basically someone trying to buy their way into that trusting relationship, and that's gross to me. So it has to be, that's why I think it has to come from like, I already love this and think you would too, because if you vibe with me, you would vibe with this. Which is like why I chill Many Worlds Tavern, which is that. You should check out Many Worlds Tavern. They do coffee and tea, and it's really fucking good. It's a tiny little team. They specifically take proceeds and put it towards queer inclusive gaming efforts, and otherwise make like tabletop settings and shit. So it's as this community as you can possibly get. It's like a small group of caffeine loving queers who like tabletop games. So Varmint Vixen says, I'm glad I don't have enough interesting and engaging things to say to people to be a content creator, so I don't have to worry about being faced with that dilemma. I mean, it's an interesting dilemma, right? Because it's cool that I get reached out to. The problem is that I'm almost exclusively reached out to by AI companies. Like, it's constantly, like, we think, for some fucking reason, that your audience would love our AI video editor. And it's like, no. No, I literally, I'm.
Hey, yo, what? Wait. Look who just subscribed.
Who just subbed? Who just? I was looking away and someone had the audacity to sub. Mr. Slothman, 03 at 8 months. Ahoy, ahoy to you as well. I'm gonna pull up a really good website called Endeavorance.camp, and I'm gonna go to a certain page on it. All right, this is my. There we go. This is my media kit, which is a page that a lot of content creators will have that just like has your stats and information. Like, it's a really quick overview of who you are and what you do, and it's just for basically companies that might want to work with you to like get a quick overview of you. And literally on this page, right above the giant business inquiries button, it says Endeavorance is available for discussions about collaborations, partnerships, and more. AI and blockchain companies need not inquire. That is been there since I've had this website, and I almost exclusively get contacted by AI and blockchain companies. And I know that they're not finding me and reading this and actually, like, you know, I know it's just they're collecting mass lists of emails and doing swarms, mail merges and shit. But I'm actively trying. I just want people to know that I'm trying. Like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to shill your crappy blockchain. Anyway, while we're here, check out merch from .dev. Merch. Check out merch from .dev. Consider if you like the jacket that I'm wearing, that's for sales. There's also a patch and tank tops, mugs, all sorts of stuff. So if you like my stuff, you like my vibe, you want to support me, this is a good way to do it. My Patreon's also a good way to do it. Patreon. And yeah. All right. I'm gonna stop plugging my shit because I hate this. I hate this. I hate it so much. Oh, and there's Epic Failure saying, "Look at you plugging, proud of you." I really don't like it. I really don't like to do it. All right, catching up on chat. The expectations for common/notable sponsors are 6 feet deep right now. Yeah, and it's funny because I've been contacted by a specific app that wants to work with me, and like I just don't use it, and so I can't endorse it, honestly. But I've seen a lot of other people in my general sphere taking that offer, and like nothing against them. It's not, I don't really know anything about it, but like it's so many people in my space taking that offer right now that I'm getting comments from people asking me about the app in question. And I'm just not engaging right now because I don't have an opinion on it. I don't know. Name says Ground News. I don't want to say who it is because that might affect potential future contracts. Cryptid has $3. I'll take $3. Lucifer's Ace BF says, I will pay you a subscription to advertise my art comms /J/silly. I kind of would love well, if I was going to sell advertising space, it would be to my community, right? Like it would be to people, like creatives in my community like that, right? Who build things, who make art, who do whatever, and want to shout to a larger platform about their work. I would do that at like a relatively, like, you know, significantly reduced price compared to what I would charge a company. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Hell yeah, spreadsheets. Oh yeah. Yeah. And specifically, not even just spreadsheets, but Grist. Oh my god. If you haven't used Grist and you are a data dweeb, if you like visualizations, if you like formulae, go use Grist. It's insane. It's so good. It's a combination database spreadsheet. It's kind of like Airtable, but open source and taken to like the ultra extreme. It's really sweet. Let me share that actually. There. If you want to check it out. It's quite good. Varmint Vixen says, luckily I have a wife who handles all that stuff. I just have to give the people the plasticky bit and they give me goods and or services. You mean like a credit card? Chef to Cuisinart says technology connections and cathode ray dude are both entirely community funded and the community loves supporting them. Yeah, I also look to like Brian David Gilbert and like the McElroy. Well, no, the McElroys do spots every single episode, huh? Yeah. Varmint Vixen says, hey Dev, I didn't see a podcast episode yesterday, and that's okay, but I just need to know, did stuff still happen? Stuff did indeed still happen, and I did feel bad about not putting out the podcast episode yesterday. So what happened is, over the past week, I had a lot of personal life stuff, nothing bad, just a combination of obligations and celebrations in addition to the hecticness of this past weekend to begin with. And so like combine that with one of the heaviest and most explosive, quite literally, news weeks that we've seen in a long time. And that's saying something. I was like, there's just no way. There's no way I can make a newsletter of that can like reach the quality bar that I'm looking for this week. So I decided to just straight up give myself a bit of a break and instead posted a sort of like side video that's like in the vein of stuff keeps happening, but it was more about how to approach the news. So let me pull this up right quick, like. So if you do head to skh.news, you will see that there is a like a video entry here, basically, that is about how to navigate the news without losing your mind during really intense moments like this. And I didn't make it a podcast because honestly, I couldn't get the audio quality to the level that I was to like an acceptable level for me to be able to publish it as an audio format thing. It's fine. The audio quality is fine, but I'm weird and require like excellent if I'm going to publish it as like audio only. So yeah. Yoink. Yoink. Oh gosh. But I don't like zagging on people because I literally ended the previous podcast episode with I'll be back on Monday, and then I wasn't. So I'm figuring it out. A small group of caffeine-loving queers who play tabletop, make that a shirt. Not a bad idea. Hello. It's a good slogan for our community, honestly. Maple Mom A, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Langwell says yesterday's video was very much appreciated. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's something that I consistently struggle with, and that video was just as much for me as it was for everybody else. I for a long time was like really struggling with mental health while following all of the news, not even just this past year where I like took a big break, but like for years, for a long time. And I genuinely had an epiphany one night. It was the closest thing that I can An epiphany is how I would describe it. I was like laying there feeling like shit, reading some like headlines or whatever, or reading some like people's shitty takes. And I realized that I'm just reading words on a page, and I have no way to tell the origin, the intent, anything regarding what I was actually reading in terms of like an online conversation. I don't know these people. I don't know their credentials. I don't know their education. I don't know their background. They might not even be from the same country as me, but they're weighing in on my country's policies. It could be any number of things. And I kind of realized like you have to take that step back. You have to really distance yourself. It's not a matter of sticking your head in the sand or shutting your ears and eyes and not paying attention. It's a matter of, as you're taking in the information, as you're reading things, as you're consuming it, and trying to make sense of anything, you can't let it go directly through your eyes and into your heart. You have to go through your brain, let it sit there for a bit, let it get evaluated, check on how much you believe, how much agency you want to give to the text in front of you. Is it an actual source, or is it just someone in a comment section making a claim that is very infuriating? Because almost definitely in that case, almost definitely, it is not in good faith. Like almost exclusively, if someone is coming into a comment section and says something inflammatory, that's just like outright inflammatory, they're doing it because they're like sad and want attention, or because they're literally being paid by a foreign government to sow discord. So like just be thoughtful about that and how much you let things affect you. Catching, I'm so far behind. I'm so sorry. Look at you plugging part of you. Yeah, well, I hated it. I hated every second of it. Every single moment. I hated it. Ollie says the SKH tank arrived last night. Great timing since it's got. How is it? I hope it's good. I'm not a tank boy. I'm not a tank top guy. So I don't really know how to evaluate tank tops.
For an elder.
So I hope it's good. Have you ever thought about reaching out to Obsidian? I have. I don't know that they do sponsored content, but I would consider that. At least like, yeah, I don't know how that would really work at all, but yeah. I'm also considering reaching out to Vivaldi because I really want to make a video about Vivaldi because it's fucking excellent. But I don't think that they have a creator program. Name says, ooh, wait, fan art wall for fan art wall on opening screen. Oh, to like buy space there, or just to submit. I would happily just post whatever if people are making fan art. Name says, yeah, what's the lodge command? It's !lodge. I literally just added it after I saw somebody try to do that, and I realized that should be a command. I don't think it was before, and it is now. The sizing guide for the tank tops is choice. Great. Excellent. Friendly Jordies is 100% Patreon funded too. Yeah, I need to like just figure out what the fuck to do with my Patreon. Like, I don't know what people would want from a Patreon, and I also don't know if it's a matter of want versus just general cash availability is trash right now. Because it's like, it's incredibly, I don't mean this as, obviously I am humbled, right? Like, obviously I am humbled by any amount of money that anyone wants to just give me for the work that I do. At the same time, it's also incredibly difficult to convert people from like viewers to patrons. And like, I can't, like my lowest tier on Patreon is $3 a month, and I can go lower than that, but Patreon like legitimately bugs you if you do that. They're like, hey, this is a bad idea. Like, you're getting like so low that like the return on investment is virtually nil. And so I don't know if it's a matter of I need to do more with my Patreon to make it more appealing and increase the value proposition there, or if it's literally just shit's rough right now, and I understand that. And like that's why I'm always like there's a lot of ways to support me. Like yes, direct money compensation stuff is wonderful and supportive and helpful. And also sharing my stuff is free and also deeply impactful. Like I never want to tell people that you're like the best way if you want to be a fan is to join my Patreon, because it's not like that. It's really not. It's like that gives me stability and helps me continue to do what I'm doing. At the same time, I am fully aware that, especially now, having the luxury of even just a few bucks a month extra is rare. I understand. I've seen, like, I remember seeing, I forget who it was. I've seen a few, like, content groups that are doing a subscription model, like, similar to Dropout. There was that whole thing with, I don't even remember what the group was. I don't really know. But they like made a subscription model and they were like, it's $5 a month. Come on, that's like nothing. And it's like, holy shit, you are so out of touch. Like $5 a month is not nothing. Like that is actual meaningful money for people. Because people are living so scarcely right now. And so to like claim that $5 a month is nothing is so incredibly insulting to the people who are looking to you for entertainment and escape, and then you basically turn around and tell them that they can't afford nothing. That's awful. That's such shit. Quentin Gell says, what if I've never played any sort of TTRPG? I mean, if you're here and you like the vibes here, you are like an honorary D&D dweeb. And it's not even D&D, but like, yeah, honorary. You are an honorary stinky con goer, like the rest of us. We all do be stinky. I'm not stinky. I smell fucking amazing though. Cryptid says, I need a video about how to stay calm in the current situation for parents. Like, I feel such horrible guilt for bringing a child into this world. That I am deeply ill-equipped to navigate. I am not a parent. I dropped my pen, and those are the reasons that I can't make that video. I'm not a parent. I can't be a parent. I took my balls out. That's not true. I got the snip, and so now firing blanks over here. So unlikely for your boy to be a parent and have that life experience to share. I can say that, oh my God, I was at a restaurant recently and I was sitting next to this table that had the single loudest child I've ever encountered. It was like wee baby, like barely beyond newborn. Honest to God, should not have been at this restaurant. And like, I understand that parents are people that need to like have a life and they're taking their family to go do things. I get it. This child was so small and so loud. I've never heard a child that small make these noises before. It was just constantly screeching like a fucking harpy. And the parents were taking the like, don't pay attention to temper tantrums route, but it didn't stop. So it was just like an hour of this child screaming and throwing food everywhere. He was just covered in guacamole by the end of the meal. I was sitting there being like, I'm real happy right now because the parents just sat there looking miserable. Don't fall for the Fed posting. Yeah, don't fall for the, oh my God. It's not even always Feds. It's just losers. Like, there's so many people who their brains are broken and they think that the point of discourse is to have the most like intense, unexpected, but reasonable sounding take. And it's always the most surface level shit imaginable. And it's not helpful. If all you do is shit talk other people's behavior, you're not contributing. You're just annoying. Like the people who are going on TikTok or wherever and saying that the protests that happened recently, which very well, like the numbers are still coming in, but very well may have been the largest single day protest in US history. And then they're going online and be like, you didn't accomplish anything. Like that's going to be a day, like the logistics of that day are going to be studied in history books. Shut the fuck up. Like, yes, they went out into the streets and there is still the next day the same administration. If you think that like, unless the end goal is reached within 24 hours of starting something, then it's not worth doing. I'm sorry to inform you that life is going to be really fucking hard for you. Just sort of in general. People have this like wild concept that there's this rapture style revolution that's going to happen where overnight we're going to be liberated by a bunch of armchair leftists who read a bunch of books about like political theory from over 100 years ago. And they're like, yes, this is my religion. I'm not religious. People who have religions are bad, but this is my religion. And anybody who tells me that I should do anything less than wait for this revolution is a lib or a fed. Like, that's not having morals. That's just opting out with a like slightly more complex lie to yourself about why it's okay for you to opt out. If you come to the conclusion that, you know, the only options are total revolution or maintain status quo, and so you choose to maintain status quo and not do anything aside from complain about how we should have a revolution, you're not doing anything. You're just bitching. You're just bitching. It's about knowing who you are and what you want and taking actions towards that within reason, using what you're able to do and making the impacts that you're able to make. And we have these wild, grandiose beliefs that we, as a single person, can save the entire fucking world because we are seeing everything at once through the internet now. And so we feel like the entire world is our backyard and I can go mow my backyard. Why can't I do that for the entire world? You know, I'm responsible for keeping my grass cut.
Hello.
But the entire world is in my backyard. That's a lot of grass. I can't do that. But I can make some people smile, pick up some trash, clean up a waterway, help people get out and protest, make some people more comfortable, donate supplies to people who don't currently have a home, advocate for more equitable like societal structures. That's very different from sitting back and being like, oh, these libs. Ugh. Like, I don't love liberals, but they're primarily people who are so comfortable or too afraid to acknowledge that they're not comfortable because they don't want to start making that next step. Like the journey beyond like basic liberalism, like if you are the kind of person who has drank the US Kool-Aid and are still fully operating within the sort of like guidelines of the US project, it's a really big leap to go from that sort of like comfortable place to, oh, that's what regime is. That's what empire is. And that's what we are. That's not great. And I don't feel good about that. Like, they don't feel good about the optics right now. It's not that they don't feel good about what the US does and our position on the world stage. And it's a really difficult leap to get there. So there's a lot of people who just haven't started that process yet. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. They just usually haven't had the need or stability to begin exploring that. For some people, they've never been pushed to explore beyond their comfort because they've never needed to. And for some people, they don't have the luxury of being able to reflect because there's just so few resources going around for the poorest among us right now. And so there's a lot of entire communities that don't even have a chance to stop and reflect. and it's not their fault. Anyway, let's ride the roller coaster. And hi, Gina. Please keep your hands, feet, dogs, and weasels inside the vehicle at all times as we ride the roller coaster. All right, further catching up on chat because I'm going so slowly and I'm so far behind. My goodness. My goodness. Varmint says, so I had one of your videos the morning I decided to take a break from the news media and news-related content consumption. So I decided that was my way to keep from going to total news blackout. Once a week, I'd listen to you and tell me what stuff had happened. Yeah, and like I don't want to say that like I am certainly not comprehensive. I don't do comprehensive coverage because I've said this a bunch of times. I don't really see myself as a newsboy. Like I know that's what I do, and I know that's what I'm known for. But I'm just like consuming and forming opinions and disseminating those opinions and stories on topics that I know I can talk about. So like I'm not comprehensive, and I am not a like flawless news source. I would recommend checking in on other places. Like I usually check in on AP News a couple times a week or day. But yeah, it's still not worth. You don't need to follow a trillion breaking news accounts and have all the breaking news notifications turn on your phone. You really, really, really don't. Because even if we get involved in the escalating war in Iran right now, like even if the US sends a bomb over there and does something really destructive, there's nothing you can do about that. Not right this second. And like learning about that a few seconds earlier or a couple hours or minutes earlier is not going to change anything. Because one, it already happened. And two, you're not sitting in the control room. You're not in the situation room. It's something that you should probably be aware of. But do you need to like be in the middle of a conversation with your loved one and be interrupted by your phone dinging to tell you that this thing happened and completely derail your day and conversation and break whatever you were doing with loved ones, friends, family, whatever? Like, pick your battles, you know? Sunfreckled Fella says, I didn't realize how much I needed the video you posted yesterday. It was great for the brain chemicals and rewiring for a healthier mindset with all this. Well, thank you. Yeah, I really, really want people to not, I don't do this to send people into a spiral. I don't do this to increase anxiety. I'm doing this to decrease anxiety. And I know that I'm not always doing that, but I just don't want, I don't like the relationship that I see people having with news. I don't like seeing people feel like they have to follow feeds where people are constantly shouting breaking news about literally everything when it doesn't fucking matter or affect anyone. And then they just freak out constantly. And that's not helpful for anyone. That keeps you in a cycle of paralysis, and you won't do anything, and you're never going to get out of it, and they're going to keep you right where they want you, which is constantly consuming their content, making you feel like if you look away, you're bad, making you feel like it's an abdication of morality to change the channel, because then they can keep you glued and sell more ads. Okay, I'm so far behind on chat. Holy shit. Oh my god. My goodness. Watcher, the whole Watcher launch pisses me off to this day. Okay, so it was Watcher was the name of the group that did the like $5 a month thing, and then they were like, oh, that's not very much. Got it. I've never heard of Watcher. I don't know what this is. I remember like that story breaking was when I learned that Watcher was a thing that existed. Tomato says, yeah, things are rough. I've canceled subscriptions, but to so many things, but I've held tight to my dev Patreon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cryptid says, to be fair, my child was the size of a normal newborn when she was 10 months old because she was so tiny when she was born, then had surgery, so it took us forever to get to 9 pounds. Me too. I also am only 9 pounds today. Goo goo gaga. AltNat Park says 13.4 million, I think. I'm assuming you're talking about the number of people who showed up for the protests. Yeah, I've been seeing unofficial totals in the like 10 to 14 range. I think it's going to take a while to really get the final tallies, but the effortful estimates seem to be in that range, yeah. For the number of people who went out to the No Kings protests. Maraka Skullman says, then there's the inverse moderates finger wagging at anyone trying to do anything and telling them that they're being too extreme. I am so sick of that. You either get, you criticize the current administration, right? You either get called Trump derangement syndrome by weird right-wing chuds who are the ones who actually have that, or you've got like moderates who are like, oh, you know, the media is just blowing it out of proportion. It's not that big of a deal. And then the moderates go on to parrot the exact media talking points that aren't true, like migrant crime. I would talk to somebody recently who was like, yeah, you know, it's not great, but they do, you know, there's with all the crime, they really do got to go after the illegal immigrants. And it's like, no, they don't. Like, that is just so easily provably untrue. That's just, you've fallen for the propaganda and think that that's the reasonable take. Because they've shifted the narrative so far, and there's literally nobody shifting the narrative back. There is not a fucking soul in any mainstream politics or news that is pushing back on conservative talking points with any merit, or like with any oomph, really. Like, MSNBC thinks they're doing that, but they're just insufferable. CNN, I don't even know what the fuck they do. I don't pay attention to them. But like, there's just nothing. And like Democrat lawmakers also just, they start from the foundations of what conservative media is saying. So like they start from a place of, oh yes, there is a giant migrant crime issue. We should talk about why it's okay to ignore that and focus on other things. It's like, no, you're legitimizing their claim. Their claim is just fully untrue. It's just whole ass untrue. All right, moving on. Moving on. Who's more annoying in your opinion? Armchair revolutionaries or finger-wagging moderates? That is rough. That is hard. I really don't like the people who are claiming to be progressive or want to improve the world for people and then just bitch at everyone who's trying anything because it's not good enough. Especially the people who are like the purity test people or whatever. The real annoying people, though, the actual most annoying people on the fucking planet right now, besides the obvious fascists that are doing the fascist stuff, among people who are maybe trying to have good intentions, are the people who just outright find a way to try to label everything as ableist or a microaggression. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't things that are ableist and microaggressive. Those are absolutely real things that are problems. But the number of times that I've seen people just outright, like I've seen people say like protesting is ableist. That's not what ableist means. That's not what it means. Like, it takes a village. There are so many types of people in this world, and everyone can contribute in their own way. And just because people are saying that you should go protest, if you can't go protest, that doesn't mean you have failed. Because no one said you must go protest or otherwise you are going to hell. Hey, it's time for that's not what's being said here. And so, like, I see people try to essentially stop people from doing productive things because they're trying to find reasons as to why it's not pure enough. And that is where we fall apart. That is where we fall apart. All right, I'm now finally caught up to when Gina got here. Hello, Gina, if you're still here. Sorry that I've just been ranting this whole time, but I am indeed excited about GKB. Oh God, we are so far behind. Oh no. Oh no. Hello, Johnny DK13 says, hope everyone's having a good day. Me as well. Hope you have a good day. Sylvie says, quietly sets fire to newsfeed doom scroll devices. That's a good call, honestly. Chef de Cuisinart says, some more news is another good John Oliver style of news reporting. I like Cody. I like the people who are behind Some More News. I used to watch Some More News a lot. I had to stop. I couldn't fucking deal with it anymore. Not because I think that they were doing bad, but because of the fucking puppet. Once they started doing the bit with the puppet, I couldn't watch anymore. It's like, y'all, I really like what you're doing, and like I just don't know who this bit is for. Because it's like, if you're not familiar, it's essentially a show where it's kind of like mine, like an unhinged current events show. Again, yeah, like similar to John Oliver doing like deep dives into stuff, but it's like really unhinged. And the person who is like the anchor is like messy hair, constantly like and then they started to introduce a character that was a puppet of the host that was like, voiced by the host doing a voice. And it was just grating and awful and went on for way too long. Like Cody, if this somehow gets back to them, I love you guys. I love the work that you do. I could not get through that. Like I get that you were doing a bit. I get that maybe it's just a me thing and it's just not for everybody. I know that I was going through the comments and everybody was laughing at the puppet stuff. People really liked it. I know that other people really liked it. I couldn't get through those segments, and I just whole ass stopped because it didn't stop. It was like every episode suddenly had more and more puppet, and I'm just like Cody hates how popular Warmbo became, for what it's worth. I haven't really followed since then. Like it basically turned me off of the entire channel, and I stopped watching and haven't looked back for a few years. Again, I like their work. I've listened to their podcasts and stuff too. I would fully endorse people go check them out. Just that bit killed me. Morocco says, we can't have an honest conversation about illegal immigrant crime until the baseline fact that they commit way less crime is acknowledged as the fact that it is. And that's where we are with just so many things. Like, we can't have a conversation about climate change because there are people who still don't believe it exists. And the fact that we have to bring those people along with us is the issue. And that's kind of what I was getting at with a recent video, or a recent take on stream, actually, where I was just talking about these conversations should have been left behind 40 years ago. There's just no more time. There's no room for this shit. You don't get to live in 2025 in the United States and bitch about gay people getting married, making it worse for the straight people. No, you're done. I don't care. You if that is your take, cool. It is completely irrelevant to a broader society. And you have no business enforcing your religious views on other people. So like, get the fuck out of here, sit the fuck down, let people live their lives, and let's move forward towards any kind of future where people feel like they have some sense of control over their own future. Like, I was recently talking to my psychiatrist about how I don't know anyone my age. I don't know anyone my age who is optimistic about the future, who even thinks that they have a future, who has a retirement plan beyond die in the climate wars. And at first that was kind of a joke, and now for most people, it's actually real. And they genuinely don't see a future. And they don't see a way that we could even start to get towards that future. It's so sad. And my psychiatrist is like a 50-something-year-old woman, and she was just like, oh, well, that's sad. Yeah! Yeah, it is. Sylvie says, propaganda is so thoroughly baked into America. It hurts me when people don't think we don't have that. Yeah. It's really weird. It's really weird that people think that America doesn't have propaganda. When like Uncle Sam is a character that exists. Well, that's not propaganda. Let's fix the dog cam. Turn the music up a smidge. Mostly because I can't hear it. Sylvie says, off topic, I love the color backgrounds in the stream chat box. Oh, wonderful. Good. I'm glad that they look good. Varmint Vixen says, people say protests are ableist for real. Yeah, I got called out by somebody. I posted a video about why you shouldn't use unencrypted chat platforms like Discord to organize like revolutionary activity, because that's extremely dangerous. And I said it's a thing that should happen either like if you need to, it should be in an encrypted, trusted platform, preferably should be in person. And I got shit from people about how it's ableist because not everybody can go out in person to organize in person. That is such a it's just throwing your hands up in the air and excusing yourself. And I'm not asking people to like move planets. I'm just asking you to care a little bit and know when you should probably not chime in with a negative reaction. Lucifer's ASBF says, protesting tends to be inaccessible for some disabilities. That's not ableism. Yeah, and again, it all comes down to it takes a village. If you can't protest, or even if you feel like you're deeply uncomfortable at the idea of going to a protest despite maybe being physically able, that's okay. Not everyone is going to do everything. There are other things you can do. Gina says, I am still here. Your ranting was in the background of my cereal eating. What cereal? Oh, this is important. This is really important. The fan base loves that puppet for some reason. It's been toned down. I just could not deal. Like John Oliver, Loki hates how viral the Drumpf bit got. I also hate how viral the Drumpf bit got. So if you don't know the origin of this, John Oliver in the first Trump presidency did a video about, Trump and how shitty he is. And one of the things was about how Trump's family name was originally Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F, or something to that effect, right? Like, I don't remember the exact history. I'm sure that it wasn't even particularly accurate, but long story short, he essentially like was giggling at Trump having a silly last name, Drumpf. And that became like a liberal war cry. It became like the face of the online lib hashtag resistance movement of calling him Drumpf. And it's like, yeah, that'll do it. That'll fix it. Calling him by a name that he's never gone by. And it's the same as I get unimaginably angry. I get wildly angry when I see people still in the year of our Lord 2025 doing the thing where they type out Trump's name with a lowercase t and a capital R to emphasize the word rump in his name. It's been a decade. It has been a decade of this man being the center of American politics. Can we stop with the T-rump, please? We're saying Drumpf and T-rump, but calling them Nazis and fascists is too far, apparently. So tired of it. I'm so tired of the absolute just like misplaced. It shows me that you don't understand the actual gravity of the situation that we're in, right? Like when they are sending legal residents of our country to a foreign country prison from a country that these people are not from, and the prison is specifically built to be a death camp where no one ever leaves. And then people are turning around and be like, haha, Drumpf. Like, imagine people trying to make fun of Hitler's mustache
Peace,
while he's
darlings,
actively gassing people.
For an elder,
Right?
is
Like,
among us.
imagine if that was their, like, hashtag resistance, he's got a silly mustache. And, like, meanwhile, he is executing people by the millions. That's what it feels like right now, is the abject, the complete disassociation, the complete mismatch of what actually is going on in the world right now and people's reactions to it being absolutely surface level. Straight people getting married makes it worse for everyone else. Prove me wrong. Just marriage is weird. Marriage is dumb. Can we just get rid of marriage? Stop doing that. Like, you can be together with somebody for your life. You can commit yourself to somebody for the rest of your life. That's great. Do it. That's wonderful. If you love somebody, you want to be with them forever, excellent. I don't want to do paperwork. I just don't want to do the paperwork. Not the that's big sad from a psych, Lamau. Yeah, I don't know what to do when my psychiatrist is like, well, that's sad. Yeah, give me my pills, please. So I stop feeling that. Whenever I think of the word propaganda, I think of the ligma. It's true. It's true. You got to watch out for the ligma. Caged Crown. 30 months. I still don't know what the fuck this means. 27 months or 30 months. Anyway, regardless, I hope you are doing extremely well. Much love, my dude. Still waiting to find out what kind of cereal Gina was eating. Can we get creative in a productive way? Wait. What does that mean? Can we get creative in a productive way? No. The only thing that we can do with our creativity is paint butts. Okay? Look. Like I said, butts. That's a flat ass. Wow. Wow. Okay. 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 You need more oomph. You need more junk in the trunk. Is that better? Is that better? Hold on, we gotta give it some cellulite. It's important to have good representation for body positivity. That's a doompy. Yeah, right? Look at this dumper. Looks square and flat still. My goodness. I can't satiate these people. Look, how about that dumper? Okay, how's that dumper? We good with that one? How about that butt? Yeah, here, look. You people. You people in your butts. Tell you what. Butts are pretty good. They're pretty good. We like them. Thanks, butts. Let's see. What in the high school level bullying is this? Yeah,
Hello.
It's like not actually good bullying either. Like he is bullyable. It's just that you have to bully him the way that he actually thinks, and he doesn't read people's Twitter accounts. I don't know. That's what that means? I thought it was just the SpongeBob capitalization thing, huh? No, they're literally just trying to point out that he has the word rump in his name because that's peak comedy, apparently. The protest near me this past weekend made accommodations to make the route more disability friendly. Yeah, like, that's rad. And like that is a example of like why protests are actually kind of safe. Like they're organized by people who are trying to make a difference, and especially a protest for like a progressive-ish movement. It's going to be by people who want to make the world safer for people and be inclusive. It's literally organized by people who want you to be there and want to uplift you. The word fascist has been thrown around so much, it's lost all of its impact. Same with dictator and Nazi. I don't know about that. I think that I think there are more conservatives saying that than there are than that. Yeah. I think there are more conservatives saying that than that actually being true. Like I think that kind of leans more into the whole like we are working from within their baseline, where like they make a statement about what reality is and then we have to work from that place. And so like while they have been just vomiting the word socialist, communist, Marxists, Leninist, like they keep trying to reach for more words to stack on. They'll say criminal, illegal, foreign, gang, alien, whatever. They'll just like add more and more and more and more labels. And then we say that you're acting like a fascist, and they're like, everybody says everything they don't like is fascist. Like, there's a huge difference when it actually is true. And again, if it's a liberal saying like, stop calling them fascists, you're just giving them fodder. Like, that's just another person who's, again, afraid to have to acknowledge the reality and move forward out of their comfort. So I know that it feels like it's screaming into the void. I know that saying fascist, it's really easy to be shut down and told that you're overreacting. But like the people who are saying you're overreacting if you call the Trump administration fascist are fucking dumb. Like, don't listen to them. They're wrong. They're just straight up wrong. They're telling you that you're overreacting because if you're right, they have to deal with reality, and they don't want to do that. They're not ready to get there. As I said earlier today, like they are comfortable and they've never had to question their reality. They've never had to actually think like, oh wow, the American project is a fascistic empire. And like their guilt is already so misplaced that to expand it and to take on all of the guilt associated with just being a part of the American empire is difficult. And so they're going to do the easier thing, which is tell you that you're overreacting and that you are wrong in seeing what you're seeing. Don't apologize for not lying to yourself. Don't do that. Kind of like when white women were all about blue bracelets. White women and trying to find ways to not catch blame. Name a more iconic duo. Like white men, we're fucked, right? We are fucked. And like I I understand that I am a white man and that a lot of white men are awful. I've given up on trying to differentiate myself or defend myself. If someone's going to come and attack all white men, I'm going to be like, yeah.
That's
Yep.
rough, buddy.
White women will do like quadruple backflips, like fucking 360 McTwist. They'll pull off the fucking helicopter McTwist jump from Tony Hawk's Underground and refuse to accept that they're also part of white supremacy. No, I want to play Tony Hawk. A statistically significant amount of U.S. citizens are completely cognitively dissonant. A statistically significant amount of U.S. citizens are literally illiterate. And it's not their fault, but it's where we are. Languel says, marriage was a horrible idea. I love my wife, but my taxes and student loan payments went up. That's weird that your taxes went up. You would think, isn't it supposed to go down when you get married? I don't know. I know it goes down when you get kids. Meh. Been with my other half for a decade. We'll get married when we've got time, and I honestly think us picking each other every day, sans paperwork, shows more dedication. I guess I'm just getting at, like, marriage is it's a weird concept. If you like step back and think about it, like you're signing a piece of paper that tells the government that you're going to be with this one person forever. And if you change your mind, you've added a bunch of legal hurdles to getting safe, right? Like if you decide that this is not a good situation for you anymore and you're in a marriage, you've added obstacles to getting away and getting out of the situation. And I'm not trying to say that marriage is unilaterally bad. It's just, it shouldn't be the default. It really shouldn't be. Like the concept that you're supposed to grow up, then get married, then have kids, work till you're whatever, and then die. It works really well for the people who are in charge and not super great for us. So make your own decisions. And get married to one of those like digital girlfriends in on the Nintendo DS that were like really popular in the like early aughts in Japan. If you're gonna get married, do that. At least you aren't expected to change your name. The paperwork for that when you get searched is bullshit. Changing your name sounds like a lot of work and also should not be a lot of work. That's yeah, I'm also not a change your last name kind of guy. Like, do what you want to do. If you want to take someone else's last name and you get married, go for it. Absolutely. Especially if you don't like your current last name. Because I know that there's a lot of people who specifically are like, I can't wait to get married because like I want to take my spouse's last name because I hate mine. I get it. Do it if you want. And again, should not be the default. Shouldn't. Really, really shouldn't. And I also hate when people like do the Mr. and Mrs. man's name. Like if it was going to be like Mr. and Mrs. Endeavorance, I'm like, no, please don't. Instead of making up funny names, we do things like non-lethal successful drone attacks. Oh God, I'm just now to the part where we're talking about the butts. Oh no, catching up. Lots of butts. Butts are funny, very cheeky, more butts. That's a dumper. Okay. I very heavily agree with, quote, why human when can bogwitch, says Inky. I mean, I don't disagree. Chris Lowell says, I feel like SNL has moved on from the T-Rump type shit and instead T-rump type shit. Imagine being less ahead of the cultural narrative than SNL. My God. SNL has a gem once per fiscal decade. And like there are some SNL skits that I genuinely love. I can think of like 3. And here's a hot take. David S. Pumpkins is still an excellent skit. David S. Pumpkins has staying power. I believe I would put, Cowbell, I would put David S. Pumpkins up there with Cowbell. I know that that's a blisteringly hot take, but I would. It's like it's cringe, but it goes so far beyond that into it maxes out on cringe and then bursts through the wall into an unknown space, somewhere new, some kind of void where cringe no longer exists and all that's left is David S. Pumpkins. And that's how I feel about life. Cowbell ruined Christopher Walken's life. Is that real or just like a take? Like, has he said that? Sun Freckled Fella says, potato is very versatile. I have no idea what that's in reference to, but I also agree. Like, wholeheartedly. Informal Goblin says, it's just exhausting. Like, yes, they are fascists. He is a dictator. We have American black shirts actively recruiting and organizing in my area. It's so bad, it's going to get worse. I am tired. And I barely qualify as being a member of a marginalized community. Like, I'm a white, straight, cis-passing person. Feeling this awful gives me imposter syndrome. Yeah, but it's also not your job to fix everything. You didn't create these problems yourself. And I'm changing my playlist. Hold on. Jangly vibes. Hell yeah. You didn't make all these problems yourself. You are not responsible for fixing all of them either. Again, it's impossible for someone who like truly cares to fully compartmentalize their guilt. And I don't think you really should necessarily, because it's trying to serve a purpose. But we want, and especially, this is especially true for neurodivergent people, like we want to find a solution to problems. And we want to find a solution to problems quickly and effectively. And there's just not a quick and effective solution to this problem. Even the haha jokey, what if you just shot the man in the head? Like that's still not a quick and effective solution to the problem, right? Like that's not going to solve everything. It'll feel nice for a little bit, but it's not going to solve everything. And the best thing you can do for yourself is consistently remind yourself that being aware of the issues is far and away above average, and taking any kind of action to put out positivity and just good into the world is so much more than what most people do on a daily basis, especially people who are actively working to regress the entire world. So if in the face of everything, you are able to still find the energy and focus to just do something good for people, you're good. You're good. You did good. And here's a secret. No one's keeping score. There isn't a scoreboard. There's just not. Like, even if you're religious, even if you believe in an afterlife with a heaven and a hell, no one's keeping score. Space Goat, first of all, thanks for the follows. Second says, I completely get why people don't want to do it. I don't think I'd ever get married personally. It's entirely a personal decision. It should be more of a personal decision than it is. The amount of pressure that gets put on people to get married is outrageous. Milo says, not the DS girlfriend. Why did you remind me of that? Because it's something that sits with me every single day. It's like I have watched. Have y'all ever seen the documentary about the men who are like in love with sex dolls? Oh God, I think it's called Guys and Dolls. Guys and Dolls documentary. I've watched it so many times. It's just like a weird. Is this the full thing? Yeah, this. I think this is it. It is a. There we go. Okay. It is a documentary about like 3 different guys who have like different degrees of like being in love with sex dolls. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, look, I at least they're happy and not hurting anyone. But I don't know, like you got to do what makes you happy, I guess. But yeah, like the DS girlfriend thing and the like being married to a doll, or now people getting like into relationships with AIs. We've got some societal issues to work through. We've got some problems to work through, y'all. Beans and Ash says, perfect decision for me. My man is my best friend and I don't work. Lol. Want to be able to have a stable environment for the future of my kid. Well, that's wonderful. That makes me really happy. Like, I love healthy relationships. Like, it's so great. I'm not anti-relationship and I'm not anti-marriage. It's just like, I don't like the template that people just kind of follow by default. Fun says, I had the lamest name pre-marriage and I kept the last name after the divorce. Oh no. That's one advantage. Just get married to someone who's cool or who has a good last name and then divorce them, keep it. Beans and Ash says, also, hi, it's been a while. It's 4 a.m. here. I'm sorry that time is a thing. I should fix that. I'll work on that. That reminds me, have you seen the documentary Life 2.0? It's about Second Life and it's pretty wild, referencing digital girlfriends. I think I've seen a Second Life documentary a while ago, but I think it was about a real estate agent. Cartoon Mortal says, since I transitioned to FTM, I'm changing my whole last name eventually. I picked it out, but I don't want to do the paperwork. I hope it's a good one. Don't name yourself Chad or Chaz or Borgus. I didn't mean that. If your name is Chaz or Chad, you're fine. Probably, maybe. If your name is Brad, you're fucked, but I don't make the rules. Ollie says, when we got married, I took her name. Honestly, I like the people who do, like, they come up with a new name entirely, or do like a hybrid name or something like that. Like, imagine if you could change your last name to Star Power. My name is Endeavorance Star Power. Having pets makes getting a home so much harder. Why is that? Oh, apartment/rent. Okay, yeah. Having a pet made me get a home because I had this animal in an apartment and that was a lot. So instead I got him a yard. Admitting the bullet isn't going to solve anything is a step that many aren't willing to take yet. Look, okay, the bullet would be cathartic and it would solve a lot of problems and it would create a situation in which things could potentially be cleaned up a bit easier. And also, it doesn't solve the underlying issue. It just doesn't. If we want to fix the problem, like if we want to fix the underlying issue, the solution has to include essentially overthrowing the Democratic Party. Or like essentially overthrowing the current leadership of the Democratic Party to allow any kind of progressive policy to be a thing. They are currently working overtime to prevent the progressive candidate in New York City from winning the mayoral election that's going on right now. Cuomo, the disgraced former governor of New York, who had to leave office because of like 1 trillion sexual assault allegations, is running for mayor in New York City and has a very strong chance of winning. And the entire corporate liberal machine, all of the liberal outlets, New York Times and whatnot, and then also like Dem established like mouthpieces, they're all pushing for Cuomo, despite having had to resign in disgrace from his last political political seat, because they don't want a progressive to win the New York City mayoral race. Because if a progressive wins the New York City mayoral race and actually makes improvements to the city, that is going to spark people to be like, hey, could we get some of that over here too? And then the Democrats would have to acknowledge that the policies that they've been preventing from implementing, that would prove that the policies that the Democrats have been stopping from being implemented are helpful and good. And they would have to actually acknowledge that, as opposed to being like, well, you know, Medicare for all would be great, but we got to take baby steps, because think about all of the healthcare administrators who would no longer be getting paid. Oh no. There is no other job that somebody who does spreadsheets can do. Where are you at fixing? Sorry, when you were fixing time, can you also fix the Berenstein Bears thing too? I don't remember which one's the real one. Is it Berenstein or Berenstain? I think it's Berenstain, right? Berenstain Bears. Y'all know this whole thing? Yeah, the Berenstain Bears, and the whole thing where people think it's the Berenstein Bears. Stain, not Stein. Yeah. It's like an alternate reality concept where it's like this show, this you know, media empire, the Berenstain Bears. So many people seem to think it was Berenstein, and not Stain, and it's just like a alternate reality, sort of like glitch in the Matrix sort of thing. It would hurt the man, but not the ideology. Yeah, the bullet would hurt the man. That would make me happy. I want the guy to just be like, look, I know this is gonna sound shitty. This is gonna sound really shitty. I know that it's like not okay.
Hello.
To wish pain on people and like wish cancer on people and all that shit. The man is so overtly evil and so close to death, but won't fucking die. I'm down with whatever. Just let him die. Let it end. Like, I'm so tired of the worst possible people living for goddamn ever in positions of power. I don't care anymore. The longer that they're there, the less of my life I have hope for. The longer that they remain in power, the fewer years on this planet I have to work with. It's literally a matter of life and death. So like I would be perfectly happy watching these people suffer because of what they have done to everybody else. And I'm just so far and beyond past like, oh no, we need to have like a positive revolution and like everyone can be redeemed. You really think that Trump is going to change his ways before he fucking kicks it? Really? I was asked by somebody recently if they thought that he would kill himself to avoid being arrested. Like if everything went down in a good way and he was actually going to be held accountable, if I thought that he would kill himself before getting arrested. No. I think he's too much of a fucking coward. I think he would sooner flee to Russia. Legitimately. I think that's far more likely, is for him to flee to Russia, not before throwing both of his sons under the bus and everyone else that he can under the bus. I mean, there's no one left to throw under the bus. He's just going to flee the country. If anything. I don't see anything changing aside from being forced. Ew, Cuomo gross. Yeah, ew, Cuomo gross indeed. Chef de Cuisinart says, New York Times recommends a hedge fund manager with no public work experience. Pretty obvious the game is rigged. It's gross, because the guy who's running as a progressive for New York City is literally just like, I want to help reduce food scarcity and not raise rents. And they're like, oh no! We can't let that happen. Quick, everybody vote for the hedge fund manager or the rapist. Like, we need more of them in politics. Arthur Mythical says, yo, by the way, repeated condolences on your absolute butt wank of a president, but also congrats on the protest. It was awesome to watch y'all band together. Yeah, like, okay, we don't like this, right? Like we don't. That's not what we want. The majority of Americans did not vote for this. A minority of Americans voted for this. A small minority of Americans voted for a Trump presidency. They don't have the mandate that they claim they do. They're trying really hard to convince people who don't know how the US political system works, both locally and internationally. They're trying to claim that they have a divine mandate from the voters to basically do anything they want. And that's why they're being so brazen with ignoring court orders and just being fascists. That's not true, even kind of. The senators who have the majority in the Senate represent fewer Americans than the minority by a huge margin. The sitting president didn't get the popular vote, or didn't get the majority of votes. That's not a mandate. It's not. Having a tiny amount of leverage in both houses of Congress isn't a mandate. The Supreme Court was stacked because Ruth Bader Ginsburg has fucking ruined this country and didn't resign. And so the Supreme Court is stacked, which is not supposed to be a thing. But the majority of people in this country don't want these policies. And if they think that they do, the polling shows otherwise. Like, people are told, again, a lot of people have fallen for propaganda that there is a spike in crime being done by migrants in this country. And that's just not true. And when they start to see, like, because of that, they get scared and then they say, yes, I do think we should deport illegal, violent criminals. Because that's such an easy thing to say. And if you want to not be labeled as like some crazy, if you get pigeonholed, you're going to agree with that. If someone had a camera pointed at you and said, I'm with the news, do you think we should get rid of violent criminals? And you said no, they're going to be like, wow, look at this guy who likes violent criminals. It's so gross and obvious. But then the second that we start actually doing the policy that they explicitly endorsed and voted for, it's met with resistance even from Republicans. Even Republicans aren't as on board with what's actually happening compared to the abstract question of should we get rid of illegal criminals? Like, they almost all say yes, and then when it's happening, they're like, oh wait, but not like that. And it's like, that's exactly what they voted for. Like, do you remember that on the campaign trail, Trump very loudly stated that he wanted generals like Hitler did, and he also said to a crowd of cheering people, I am your retribution. He said, I am your retribution. And then now a sitting Democratic lawmaker and her husband was murdered by a right-wing nut job, and then another couple was shot and nearly killed. And they're like, oh, why is this happening? Violence has no place in politics. You have been the one saying that these are monstrous rapists, child molesters who are farming children in the basement of a pizza place and calling them the enemy of the state and saying that we need to be ready for a civil war and all of that shit for a decade. I saw a TikTok right before going live from a girl who's in her like 20s. And she was like, you know, Trump has been running for the presidency since I was 15. Me and my cohort doesn't know a world that isn't like this. Doesn't know a concept of politics that isn't driven by this insanity. That is the only version of politics that they know. These are people who are now years into the workforce. They're not kids. They are employees, they are managers, they are parents who have never known a world in which Trump wasn't controlling the political sphere in America. Which is horrific. It's crazy. Has Trump called that attack domestic terrorism? No, and he also recently refused to call Tim Waltz. He was asked if he was going to call Tim Waltz, and he instead just insulted Tim Waltz and said no. Which, like, I don't, whatever. Like, Trump is a complete fucking ass, and so him being a complete fucking ass in the face of a situation like this is going to happen. Like, this is an example of the Delta shitty not changing. This is what I was talking about in the video that I posted yesterday. We know the following things. We know that Trump is an ass. We know that he's incapable of any reality in which he is not the center of it. We know that he is a complete hypocrite. And we know that he's an idiot. So when he's asked if he's going to have a compassionate call with the governor of a state that just experienced a high-profile political assassination, and he said no, and also Tim Waltz is an idiot. What, like, literally what else would have been expected? Like, I cannot think of something else he would have said there. And to be upset about him having said that specific thing is a waste of my energy. Because I know that he is going to say something like that. I know it's going to be inflammatory, and it's the exact same as it was yesterday. So the change in shitty is 0. And while I can still acknowledge that that's shitty, I can still be pissed at the situation. I can still know that he is an awful, awful person. And as I said, I'm fine with him getting some fucking bone cancer. But I'm not going to sit here and get all riled up about that specific point. I'm not going to, point to that, share it all over social media and be like, look, see? Like, yeah, we know. We know he's an ass. I don't see my job as constantly reminding people to be angrier. I think my job is instead to show people how to navigate the world that we're in and channel that into something productive. Because the last thing I would say is you should sit back and do nothing. Like, you shouldn't sit back and do nothing. But also, there's a big difference between like nothing and something and saving the world. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for saving the world. I'm asking for something. Search up local mutual aid groups. Join a direct farm support, like farm delivery service, a CSA or something. Consider changing your diet a little bit to better impact the environment and yourself so you can be a little healthier and maybe do more good with the time that you've got. You know, little things. Just keep doing little things because they add up. They also don't know Trump outside of being a shitty politician. Spoiler alert, he was everything he did outside of that was shitty as well. That is the part that blows my mind, is we've known that he was a complete piece of shit grifter this whole time. My entire life growing up, I was aware of this man and how shitty he is. And then we just collectively forgot. Language says, how did we go from Republicans backing Mitt Romney, a relatively progressive for as far as Republicans back then, to Donald Trump? To which Chef de Cuisinart says, the Tea Party. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the Tea Party kind of broke everyone's brains, but also a black man in the presidency. Like this gets harped on. I know this gets brought up all the goddamn time, but Obama broke their brains. A black man in a seat of power, a black man presiding over white people, broke them. There's like, I cannot overstate how much racism and sexism is alive and well in this country. And to ignore that is to ignore basic reality. It broke their fucking brains and they wanted retribution. And again, Donald Trump literally called himself their retribution. The entire time during Obama's presidency, Trump was fostering all that hatred and anger, the birther bullshit, all that stuff. That was him. He did that and then channeled that into a presidential run. Obama made the Tea Party stronger in a world where Fox News exists. Yeah, like Fox News laid that groundwork. Hello, Taliesin says, afternoon, lovelies. How's it going? How are you? I want to stop talking about Trump and U.S. political bullshit for a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm looking at my list of topics of things that I could talk about, and almost all of them are that or that adjacent, except for one. So I'm going to talk about that because it has nothing to do with anything. I think it's time for just a good story. Y'all just want a story? Y'all want a story? How about a story? Once upon a time, there was a young intern named Endeavorance, and he was working at a small contracting shop, like a programming house, basically. So it was a contractor for like software. He, not me. This isn't a story about me. He was put on a contract for the Virginia lottery because Endeavorance was, this is hilarious, had a specialty in Flash app development. Remember fucking Flash? Right? So Dev was good at building Flash games. And the Virginia lottery wanted a kiosk, like a new set of kiosk games that people could play at like bars and shit, where they would get a ticket, scan the ticket at the kiosk, play a little game that was predetermined because it's a lottery, and then get a result based on the ticket they scanned. So the actual functionality of it was the second you bought the ticket, it determined whether or not you were going to win or lose. And when you scan it, it tells the game, like, let them win or force them to lose. And then you play the game. So Dev was working on this bullshit for a while, and Dev was working on the kiosk that they gave us as a development kit. And it was this like shitty old Dell touchscreen point of sales system, basically. And it had a barcode scanner. But the barcode scanner was like literally just a barcode scanner. There wasn't any support or software or any kind of information on how to use it. So Dev is trying to figure out how to connect this barcode scanner to a Flash application so that people can scan codes to play the game. But there's nothing about how to do this. And so I try to get in contact with the company that makes the barcode scanner. Sorry, not me, Dev. So Dev tries to get in contact with the company that makes the barcode scanner. Dev gets on the phone. Dev calls up a support number. Dev gets somebody who's on the other side of the phone, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're working with the barcode scanner. You're going to want to talk to Tony. Here's his cell phone number. And so Dev called Tony on his cell phone. And Tony didn't really help. It was the most awkward conversation that I've ever... This is a story about me, spoiler. It was like the most awkward... I've been like, hi, is this Tony? And this guy was like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, do you know about barcode scanners? And he was like, well, what are you scanning? This was like a commercial barcode scanner supply company that must have had some guy who was head of old barcode scanners named Tony, and the only support system that they had for these outdated ass products was some dude named Tony and his cell phone. Ultimately, I did figure it out. I did get it connected, and then they dropped the contract. The end. Did you like my story? Did you like my story? I hope you did, because I told it myself. Cartoon Mortal says, Dev, our words are being turned into emotes on stream chat replay when we say, well, what is that? We say, oh. Is that, wait. That's so good. Okay, I see what's happening. That's hilarious. So there presumably, yeah, okay. It's a nice story. Awesome. That's super fun. That's silly. So that means that the emote rendering system has pulled a bunch of emotes that are just single words like oh and nice. Whoops. I'll see about fixing that. Oh, nice. That's really good. It's almost definitely because I've been working on trying to make the emote system better, and it pulls from better Twitch TV and Franker Z stuff. So any of those emotes will probably get rendered. That's probably what's happening here. But I'll look into that and try to prevent it from translating like individual words. That shouldn't be a thing. Like single words that are obviously not an emote. A cool kind of weird. Rossing off my story. Let's see. Has anything changed in the past however long I've been streaming? Trump says the U.S. knows where Iran's leader is hiding, urges Iran's unconditional surrender. Why, though? Can we not get into war? Maybe? Just a little bit? Just a little bit. Trump said Tuesday that the U.S. knows where Iran's supreme leader is. Doesn't want him killed, quote, for now. Urged in a social media post unconditional surrender as the 5-day conflict continues to escalate. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding, Trump added. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We're not going to take him out. Kill, at least for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. What the fuck? So my take on all of this shit is that he doesn't want to get into a hot war because he's terrified of having to preside over a hot war. Yeah, like he doesn't want to do that because he's afraid of the war, not because of morals. He wants to just like walk around and claim that he's fixing everything with trade deals and then not do any actual meaningful work. And I don't think that I think he's genuinely uncomfortable with the idea of presiding over war. I think he's actually squeamish about it. And so he would probably just end up, if we do go to war, passing off all the responsibilities to like an advisor who would just do something terrible. But as much as I hate Donald Trump and think he's like fucking horrible, I think he's a putrid human being. I also think that he's a little chicken shit and is genuinely afraid of conflict. And while I think that's a helpful trait for us who don't want to get involved in war in the Middle East right now, I think his whole, like, I'm not going to start any new wars thing is literally just because he doesn't want to have to deal with the fallout of having a war on his hands. He was supposed to be all about staying out of forever wars. Yeah, like he literally campaigned on that. And I actually do think it's a little, I posted about this on Blue Sky and such. I think it's a bit, it makes me genuinely happy to see pushback from the right. There are major right-wing figures and also plenty of just people in general just chatting in right-wing spaces about how they don't want this to be a thing. Like they don't want to get involved in this war. They're perfectly happy with Israel annihilating Iran because of racism. Like they're perfectly happy with that. But they don't want us to be directly involved, which is pretty silly and short-sighted because if Israel is involved, then we are basically involved. Dude thinks Putin served in World War II. Yeah, like he's scared shitless. Like he's a draft dodger, right? He's not an army guy, but he sits at the head of an army, and he wants all the glory with none of the effort that he has to put in for that. And like that's just been true for all of this. He never wanted to be president. He just wanted attention. And then the second time around, he wanted to not go to jail, and so that's why he became president. It has nothing to do with a sense of duty or honor or any of that. He doesn't want to have to deal with commanding an army during a war. And I also think at some point, in some degree, he is genuinely squeamish about the idea of ordering the killing of people. Because again, he's not a military guy. He's a fucking business real estate con man who spent the majority of his life just doing cocaine and prostitutes. Live your life, you know? If that's what he could have just done that and died. But now he's here, and I just don't think that he has the wherewithal to navigate an actual war in which he has to say things like, yes, kill these people. Now, he's obviously caused death. He has obviously been indirectly or directly responsible for a lot of death. But he doesn't think that. I don't think that he thinks for a second that anyone has incurred any harm whatsoever under his leadership. I genuinely think that he thinks that he believes he is the best ever. He believes the things he's saying. But I don't think that he actually wants to be in a war. That said, I do think it's relatively likely that he'll be pushed into it because his advisors are probably pushing him to get involved in the war. And again, he's a little chicken shit baby who doesn't know how to push back on anyone. We're talking about people who wouldn't be able to tell Iranians and Israelis apart in a lineup. Yes, except for a lot of American right-wing people see Israel as a white nation because there's a lot of white Americans who have moved to Israel. And so like, to conservatives, Israel is a white Western stronghold in the Middle East, and that is why it is a morally superior country to them. Never mind that they are impeding on everything and destroying the region for everybody else. Never mind the fact that Iran is just existing and trying to maintain their own stability in their own location and has their own major issues with their regime. And also is a country that exists there that has power. And existing and having power doesn't necessarily make you objectively immoral compared to Israel. So like they're just totally okay with Iran being destroyed because they've been told their whole lives Iran is a back-assed country full of brown Muslim people. And they are okay with that kind of death. But the second that they see somebody getting killed near a McDonald's, that's when it's like unacceptable. That's when you've crossed the moral line. I will hydrate. Lemon Zest. Sorry I missed the follow earlier. Thank you so very much for the follow. Welcome in. God. I think I am going to wind down here and get going on some other stuff. But we're just coming up on the 2-hour mark here shortly. And, yep. There's a lot that I'm working on right now. For those who are not super tuned in to like everything that I do outside of just blathering about this. And this was much more of a discussing politics kind of stream than I thought it was going to be. But I am working on a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, I'm working on Proscenium, my tabletop role-playing game. If you haven't... Proscenium? Is that a command? No. Here. Proscenium.game. Definitely check that out. If you like tabletop role-playing games, I am really putting a lot of effort into that right now. And otherwise, I'm doing everything that I'm doing with all of my content, my streaming, my community. Definitely join the Astral Campgrounds if you haven't checked that out before. There's going to be some big updates around all of that in the next few months, hopefully, if I can find time to work on everything. Other than that, I am also working on a couple of sort of like ad hoc one-off videos. I really want to get to posting more than just Stuff Keeps Happening on YouTube, and ideally just posting like at least one extra video a week that's not Stuff Keeps Happening. It's just like something else. If you've got any like suggestions or things that you want to see from me, definitely send them my way. Either email me at neverendingfeast, neverending@fea.st. That's a real email address. You can email your requests there, or you can join the community and talk about them there. And if I see them, I'll be like, ooh. So if you want to see me talking about crap, let me know. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna take care of the pup. I'm gonna get some lunch. Gonna catch up on some to-do items. But thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for dealing with me as I just kind of ranted about everything that's going on right now. I do not intend to make my stream be just hours of me ranting about Trump, but there's obviously so much happening right now, and I didn't do a normal Stuff Keeps Happening yesterday, so kind of felt like I needed to get some stuff off my chest. But I will see you all again on Thursday for the Thursday morning stream at 11 a.m. U.S. Eastern. But until then, take care, be well, bye-bye.